Hi everybody, in this video we're going to talk about chapter 11. So I'm going to give you a brief introduction, and this is mostly for your FlipGrid, but in this chapter we're going to be discussing conic sections. So I have a nice little cone here, and so the conic sections we're going to discuss are parabolas, circles, ellipses, and hyperbolas. So let me show you how the reason they're called conic sections is because we can slice up a cone and get those conic sections. Okay, so first notice that this is a circular cone. So if I slice it anywhere parallel to the cone, to the base of the cone, we're going to get a circle. So imagine that this ruler can go through the cone at a parallel, then we're going to get a nice little circle here. So as I slice it, I'm going to get a circle, a radius R. And so that is our first conic section, so we get circles. Now imagine that if I slice it at an angle, so instead of going parallel to the base of the cone, if I'm slicing at an angle, what will that create? So if I slice here and I go at an angle, then I am going to create an ellipse. So this will be an ellipse. So I get it from slicing a cone at an angle. How do you get a hyperbola? So a hyperbola is I call them usually two hanging parabolas. And so if I slice the cone through the gap and kind of like perpendicular to the base, so this will create a hyperbola. So if I slice it through here, I'm going to create this. So that will be one side, and then the same thing on the other end. So this will be a hyperbola. And a parabola is if I only slice one of the cones. So if I only had one cone, say I didn't have the top one, then I have a parabola going down. If I have a cone this way, then I have a parabola going up. But when I have a double cone, that's when I get a nice hyperbola. So those are the conic sections that we are going to study in this chapter. So for your FlipGrid activity, let me show you what you're going to do. Okay, so for your FlipGrid activity, you're going to need a ruler, a Sharpie, string, or a compass if you have it, or a mug, something circular, and either wax paper. This is wax paper, but you can use, well, this is parchment paper, sorry. You can use wax paper, parchment paper, or freezer paper, something that you can see through it. So that's what we want to be able to do. So if you have a compass, do that, and of course a pencil. So for the first, so you're going to have three options for your FlipGrid, and so you can, they are posted on Canvas, so you can choose which one you want to do. You only have to do one for bonus points. You could do all three. But so the first one is you're going to take your ruler, and it doesn't matter the size of your paper, just make sure that it is at least bigger than 6 centimeters. Well, the biggest circle you're going to draw is 5 centimeters, so make sure that it's something where you can draw a 5 centimeter radius circle and still have enough room to work with. So for the first one, what I'm going to do is you're going to take your ruler and place it at the bottom of your wax paper and then draw a line through it. I'm going to use my pencil. The instructions say to use a Sharpie, but I'm going to just use my pencil. And draw that, and once you have it drawn, go ahead and fold the paper in half so that the ends of the line you just drew meet up, and make sure everything, and crease it. So crease it at that. So we want to essentially find the middle. So once you have it creased there, take your ruler again And this is the ruler. The width of this ruler is about 3 centimeters. So if you're not using a regular ruler, just make sure that you're gonna want to draw a dot in here in this crease. Just make sure that it's no more than 3 centimeters. So from the line. So I'm gonna go here, and now I'm gonna use my Sharpie, and I am gonna draw it somewhere around there. I just don't want it to be more than 3 centimeters. So I'm gonna go like right around 3. You can draw it closer to the line, but just don't draw it like way up there. And so now that I have this, so this is the first folding activity. So now what you're gonna do is that point that we just drew, you're gonna wanna match it to the line. Either match the line to the point or the point to the line. So I'm gonna take the line and match it to the point. And this is why we want see-through paper. And then you're gonna crease. And then we're gonna continue doing this. So you're just gonna keep moving that line or that point and keep creasing the paper until you have gone all the way through the line. So I can go a little bit closer here and then crease it. And so you're gonna continue doing that, right, until, and keep creasing until you have made it all the way. So I may have to go this all the way on both sides. And so then the idea is that once you're done with all the creasing, you want to be able to see what shape do you have. And the instructions will tell you what to do after you're done this, but you can already kind of tell maybe what shape this one will be. And then go on your FlipGrid and talk about which part you chose and what you discovered about it. So let me go on to the second one. Okay, so for the second activity, the second folding activity, we're going to draw a circle of radius 4 centimeters. So this is where you're going to need your compass, your ruler, and a Sharpie to measure, and string if you don't have a compass, or a mug. So if you don't have a compass, I don't have a compass, what you're going to do is somewhere in the middle of your paper, you're going to try to draw a dot, and then using your compass if you have one, or string. So if you don't have a compass, what you can do is do string. So notice that, I don't know if you can tell, I have put a knot in my string so that that's where I'm going to hold it and put it on the center of the circle, that knot, and that's going to help me keep my place. And then two things you can do is you can measure. So I'm going to put my knot at the edge and then measure 4 centimeters. So there's 4 centimeters. So then you can either tie your pencil to it so that it's already at that level. So you could do, I don't know, tie it however you feel like tying it. You could also, sometimes what I do is I go, okay, there's 4 centimeters, and I'm gonna fold it there and then find my knot, and so I have my 4 centimeters right there, and then I kind of just put my pencil through it, and now I can go to my point, my center of the circle, and start drawing. Oops, that didn't come out as good as my practice run, but you can kind of do it from there. And then the nice thing about having the knot is that you can move the paper if you need to, and then as long as you keep placing the knot on the center, then you can keep tracing your circle all the way around. If you don't have string, you can also use a mug. This is one of my favorite mugs. This is when I went to the Justin Timberlake concert that I dragged my husband to. And most mugs are about 8 centimeters across, the diameter, right? So 8 centimeters across, like this one is, means a 4 centimeter radius, which is exactly what I need. For the next activity, you need a 5 centimeter radius. So I think if you take a pint, like drinking glass, so it's a little bit wider, that will give you it should be 10 centimeters in diameter, 5 centimeters wide. So this is what I'm going to use, and I'm going to change my paper and show you the activity. Okay, so once you have drawn your circle in your center, for this folding activity, you're going to put a dot somewhere on the outside. So I'm going to put it here and label it F. So don't put it too close to the edge of your paper because that's going to make it very difficult to do the folding activity. Also, don't put it too close to the edge of the boundary of the circle because that's also going to make it difficult. So I put mine here. You can put it anywhere, and that's the beauty about doing the FlipGrid, that all of you will likely choose different spots to put your point on, and then we can see what different shapes you get. And so then, just as before, we're going to try to line up the point. Last time you did it lining up the point with the line. Now we're going to line up the point with the boundary of the circle and crease. So keep moving it just like we did with the previous activity, trying to line up. And this is why you need see-through paper. And then how long are you going to do this? Until you get enough of a shape that you can recognize and make it all the way, the dot all the way across the circle. Okay, so if I take a different area, so there's different ways that you can do it. So hopefully you're catching the idea. So you just want to crease and keep moving it. And then in the end, you're going to be able to see what shape, what conic section are you going to have, and then use your Sharpie and trace the section that this is creating. So for your third activity, it's going to be very similar to this one. You're going to create a circle with 5 centimeter radius. So if you can find like a drinking glass that is, or maybe a mason jar that is 10 centimeters across in diameter, that will give you that 5 centimeter radius that we need. And then for the third activity, the difference is that this point F, instead of being on the outside of the circle, is going to be on the inside of the circle, but not on the center. So you're going to draw it somewhere, not too close to the boundary and not on the center. So you could draw it there. And then same thing as we did here, you're going to want to find that point F and match it to the edge of the circle. And that will be it. And then go on FlipGrid and share your conic sections. What did you come up with? And if you did all three, do share all three. And also, if you are camera shy, I just want to let you know that there's different ways that you could do this activity as well. You could just record your screen like I'm doing here, and or you could switch it to, well, right now I can't switch to turn my camera on, but you could also just be recording yourself and showing what you did. You could also do like a PowerPoint slide and say what you want to say on the PowerPoint slide, and then show maybe a picture of your shape, and then you can record that. So you don't necessarily have to be on camera, although I would love to see you and your reactions. And for even extra bonus points, another thing that you can do is find things around your house that give you conic sections. So this is a nice persimmon from my tree, and so although this is not a cone, but can you make conic sections out of things like this? So if I slice it, right, I have a conic section. What is this? Is it an ellipse or is it a circle? And then notice what I have here. And so how can you make a cone? How can you make an ellipse? How could you make a parabola? So can you find things around the house? And it doesn't have to be fruits or veggies, although I was thinking like a butternut squash would be a good one to create a hyperbola with. What about lampshades? What things are around your house that give you conic sections? So anyway, you can include that in your FlipGrid if you like, and have fun with the activity, and I can't wait to see what you do.